Okay, so welcome everybody to this week's call and welcome back to the new year. So my name's Jackie Boyle and I've got a very good friend of mine and what I consider to be an authority on Emulin because he's been on this journey with us with Dr. Ahrens for 4 years. It's 4 years now. So Dr. Ron Bosima Senior, he's going to be joining us to be able to give us his opinion on people's testimonials today. Dr. Ahrens couldn't join us, so I'd like to welcome you. Dr. Ron, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Jackie, and it's been a great 4 years, hasn't it?
It certainly has. And, as we talk about this and we gear people up into this, Ron, Emulin's been an amazing product for so many people for the 4 years, hasn't it?
It really has. I've personally been using it. I think I missed maybe about a month in the transition where we just couldn't get product. But boy, I'll tell you, it's made a huge difference in my life, my wife Donna, and many, many in our family. And it's blessed a lot of people. And we just want to go out there and bless the world with this great product.
Yeah, so, we know that there's some exciting things coming. So as I said, for those that have just joined, make sure that you do tune in or you make sure that you have registered for this weekend's event with Valentis because there's some exciting announcements that are going to be happening. And you don't want to be missing out on that because going forward with, we're talking about Emulin and 24/7, but predominantly Emulin is the flagship product, that there are exciting things that are happening with that. So you want to hang on to your seat because we're going to get ready to soar. So we might invite Mike on board first, Ron, and just get him to share. But before you start talking, Mike, as we invite people on, we haven't scheduled people on. So if you're wanting to share your testimonial or somebody's on their behalf, please do not make any claims to cure, heal, and or fix. We need to protect these products. And it is your symptoms that you have experienced. And I will get Ron to clock in if need be to ensure that we try and stay compliant, if that's okay. So, Mike, would you like to unmute yourself and start and share your first testimonial?
Yes, ma'am. Sure thing. It'd be my honor to share my story with the products since we've tried it. We joined the company February 2019, and when the first Emulin bottles were released, we were so curious about it already because I have a family history of diabetes. I have never had to get insulin for myself. My doctor always labeled me as pre-diabetic, but my wife, who's a nurse, is saying, you might as well be. I've been on glimepiride, I've been on Victoza, the one you inject in your tummy, and they help a little bit, but my blood sugar has always been above normal, which is for me, for my height and weight, I guess it's 5.7. But last year, that was 6.5. So I was always getting threatened by my doctor that we're going to put you on insulin next blood work, next lab, we're going to put you on insulin. So I'm always like worried about that. But since the product came out in May, I've been taking that twice a day, four, 2 in the morning, 2 at night, religiously. And I noticed that my blood work has been improving. And for the whole year, I have never been put on Emulin. My A1C now, my last blood work last month, was in normal range. And the discussion about insulin totally was no more with my doctor. And she already prescribed me Victoza, but she's like, you don't have to take that, just leave it alone. So that's, it really, I believe it really helped with my A1C to get normalized throughout the whole year that I've been regularly taking it. And so, yeah, I'm never going to stop. And also my inflammation in my ankles, whenever I used to have gout and arthritis attacks, and I already feel it. When it's coming on, I already know. There's a tingling and like the inflammation, the redness and the swelling, I already know it's coming. But with the Emulin, I can kind of tell that I would just basically give myself like 3 in the morning, 3 at night, just that extra little punch. And I could feel it kind of subside, the inflammation, the swelling, the redness. So on a bad day where I maybe eat some more meats, I would just kind of load up on my Emulin C. So C is the one for me. So I know it's helping me. So there's no way I'm going to stop the C. And I'm also trying to give it to my dad in the UK. He's, I think, type 1. So I want to help him with this situation. Oh yeah, the story about my son that I want to share also.
Mike, Mike, before you go forward, I'll just get Ron to unmute himself, and if you've got anything to discuss with that testimonial, Ron, because it's very interesting, Mike, that you've shared it in regards to the dose and you taking that extra at 3 a.m. in the morning. So have you got thoughts in what you've just heard now, Ron?
Yeah, I think that's probably, not knowing exactly your weight, but just looking at, that sounds like a pretty good amount. But you know what we're all doing, and I guess this is always a good time to say it, we're building health. We're really not treating a disease. We're just getting the body into what we call homeostasis.
6-day freaking pack.
Whoa.
No, I don't believe in that retail is the way to go, but if you could sell a 6-day of trim and a 6-day of
I don't know who's
whatever.
on here, and I can't even stop them. Oh, I have now. Okay, great. Sorry.
Yeah, anyway, we're building health. So, what we have, a lot of us have symptoms, whether it's inflammation, whether it's joint discomfort, whether it's higher blood sugar levels. All of that is just a condition where the body's not functioning right. And Emulin, it just simply helps the body to balance out, to normally get itself into homeostasis. So, we're not saying we're curing diabetes, we're not curing arthritis or anything like that. We're just getting the body into a balance. And if it's in balance, those symptoms just plain disappear and we have good health.
That's great, Don. And Mike, I really appreciate you sharing, because, insulin or sugar control and instability is a really major factor of a lot of people's conditions of all ages. So we really thank you for sharing that. So if you'd like to unmute yourself and continue to share your son's testimonial, that would be great. And thank you, Ron.
Oh, yes, thank you. So while I was on this, also the other stories I'm hearing was that how people with injuries, and I've never heard this, I thought it's just for blood sugar, that it was really helping support or assist with the healing process of the body. So I'm like, well, that's curious. So I'm like, okay, so that's why I figured I should give it to my kids, because they eat a lot of sweets, and they eat some they take some vitamins, but I don't think it's ever enough. So, but there's no way they're going to take the capsule. So what I do is I sprinkle it into a cookie with some peanut butter or Nutella. So it's like a Oreo cookie that's homemade, but the Emulin is hidden in there. So for maybe about a month after the product came out, they're on it. So my son and my daughter on it. My daughter's a special needs daughter, so anything that would help her situation. We also hear about how Emulin has helped some parents with behavioral issues with children with that affliction, the autism in the spectrum. So my son is last year when he was 4, we went into a restaurant and he had a slip and fall, and I was still in shock for many days after that. It would be like it's actually a New Year's Day last year, the exact day of New Year's Day. He had a longer than an inch gash on his top of his eye. You could see the skull, and so he had 10 stitches. We had to go to the ER that morning, and he's been on ambulance since way before that happened. And after getting the stitches in there, and we have to bring him to the pediatrician every few weeks. What she noticed was the injury compared to what she's seen in the past. She said, I have pictures from between the 10th day and the 14th day, so that's like about 2 weeks. She said, that's amazing that you're seeing that fast, because something like that, 10 stitches and that long of a gash on his forehead would not look like this. It would be months before it looked like that. So I was pretty shocked. She mentioned that, because that just confirmed, what I've been hearing, that it does help the body heal faster than usual. And here he is now. Let me show you. Okay. So your scar right here. That's exactly a year ago. That was a big gash, and now it's gone. And he's gonna go catch him more. So he's gonna be on Emulin.
Actually, Mike, thank you. And Ron, I know you've heard a lot about testimonies with children over the years too. And Mike, I'm pretty fascinated by how you have been able to incorporate it into food to be able to give it to children. What are your thoughts on that, Ron?
Yeah, boy, like Dr. Joe would say, from womb to tomb, and I'm closer to that tomb thing, but you know, well, maybe not, who knows, but compared to that young child, yes, definitely. But, you know, just going back to that wound, you know, Dr. Joe always talks about inflammation is important to life, because when that cut happens, immediately inflammation is occurring because it stops the blood flow. And that's a good thing. It's going to save your life. If we don't have it, we bleed out. But then we have the repair process that takes place. And because our foods are so depleted in flavonoids today, we don't have enough flavonoids to really go in there and heal the body as quickly as what it normally would do. And that's just a powerful testimony. And I've had that on my own body this past summer working in my yard. I ripped a big gash in my top of my finger on a nail. And, you know, it hurt like crazy for a little bit, but it healed so fast. I was just amazed. And I kept thinking about Dr. Joe's stories all the time about how inflammation is important to help stop things, but then to help heal things quicker. Emulin is there to help with that inflammatory process, and that's powerful. And then, of course, you know, not using the things that cause the inflammation in our diet, like the sugars, really is a benefit as well. So you got a double whammy in terms of really healing quickly and beautifully.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing, Mike, and we really thank you for sharing both of those testimonials, because they both are in areas that, you know, children are our future. So if we can understand the power and the benefits of providing them to our children and our grandchildren, you know, going forward, it's always good to have information. So that little gold nugget that you shared of how you're able to get your children to take it is just magical, to be quite honest. So I really thank you. I'd like to ask, is it Noemi from Germany? If you'd like to unmute yourself, that would be great. And before you do actually start to share, I just need to remind you that we are not making any claims to heal, cure, and/or fix, and that we are talking about our symptoms rather than we have cured anything in a condition, if that's okay. So welcome.
It's okay. Good evening. I'm Noemi from Germany, and I'm very much privileged to have a share in this testimonial. I suffer from pain 37 years, and it also bothers me a lot because the pain starts from head to foot. Whenever I touch my skin, it really pains me, and it causes me not to sleep in the night. So if I would say 37 years I have pain, I would say 7 years I could only sleep, you know, the whole night through. So the rest of the years I did not sleep at all, but I'm glad I'm still living. And so I'm started to take Emulin since October. And I noticed after 2 weeks, after taking 3 capsules, I noticed that I didn't have that symptoms anymore. And I have the strength during the day even. And I could also go to the jogging. I love jogging, you know. I haven't been jogging anymore for 37 years because I have the feeling that my body is falling apart. But since I'm taking Emulin, I have this strength and I could jog for 45 minutes. And I'm really happy for that because it really changed my life. And I could even sleep better in the night since I'm taking Emulin C. So I'm very thankful from this wonderful product. I thank really God from this for this, and also Dr. Ahrens for this miracle capsule. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ron, would you like to make some comment on that testimonial?
Oh, that just warms my heart to hear that story, because so many people deal with those kind of conditions, and it's really an inflammatory process. And if there's inflammation in the body can't rest. And if the body can't rest and get sleep, it can't repair. So we're getting a double whammy again there. You know, we're getting the inflammation reduced, which allows the body to rest and sleep, which helps reduce more inflammation. So it's just, you know, it's a perfect combination of getting enough amylin in the body so that the body will normalize, and then we can get the rest we need so that it helps to build strength and health again so we can go out jogging. It's wonderful. It's exciting to hear.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting to see if anyone else would like to unmute themselves to share their testimony. Please do. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Patsy, would you like to unmute yourself? And again, welcome to the call, but just remember what we have requested of you. I know I sound probably like I'm going over it, but we just want to protect the product, not to make any claims. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to provide my testimony. I'm just totally elated taking Emulin. I take the Emulin C. I was diagnosed 4 years ago with type 2 diabetes. I was pretty healthy before then, but stress of life and increased stress with my work environment really changed my life. So after that diagnosis, I was bound and determined to not be on medication. It started in the hospital. My blood sugar had risen to 747. And when I got to the emergency room, because a friend told me to get there, the doctor told me I was lucky I came in, because if I had waited over the weekend, I would have been in a diabetic coma. So suddenly becoming aware of what diabetes really is and what it does to your body was on my agenda. I started with injection needles, insulin in the abdomen. Scariest thing of my life, honestly. And then my blood sugar came down to around 300 and something from 7. And then they released me. And then, life changed. So I had to try to figure out what to do, but I really was determined to find a way. And in this interim, 2 years now, about a year and a half, I started in on Dr. Ahrens Emulin C, and things just started getting better. My numbers, I'm happy to say, I'm going into the 2nd year. I have pre-diabetic levels. 5.5 is my A1C, and I'm on no medication whatsoever. Now I want to say that I started doing other healthy things, obviously, drinking a lot of water and changing my diet. But I have to say that without Emulin, I believe it would have been very hard to maintain it, to keep it at that pre-level. So I'm just really grateful and ecstatic. And I want to share this with everybody that I can, because it does work and there's such great value for our health. And we just need to get more people aware of the benefits that they can achieve from reducing that inflammation and getting your body to heal itself. So that's my story. Thank you for allowing me to share that. And I've just got to keep smiling because I'm so happy to be on Emulin. I'll never stop.
Patsy, that's just amazing. And, congratulations. And I know that we're all really happy to hear, stories like that. I've got goosebumps, but I'll let Ron give his opinion and thoughts on it. And Ron, I'll ask you, just for the benefit of people on here, if they may have some confusion, or for those that listen afterwards, the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes after you make comment on Patsy's testimony, please.
Yeah, Patsy, I'm very proud of you, because all of my health career has been teaching people to take responsibility for their health. And to hear you say that you knew you needed to do that is just amazing, because we can take good products like Emulin, and that's very, very important to do, but we also still have to make those dietary changes that caused us to get in the position that we're in the first place, to need this product. We all need it. I won't say that, but to really need it in a desperate way. So I'm congratulating you on that. And what I know is Dr. Joe has formulated the 2 products very specifically. The Emulin C was the first one out, and that was really to help the body to control blood sugar. Because if we don't control blood sugar, we're going to have inflammatory conditions going throughout the body. And it's really interesting. Very seldom do people, let's say, die of diabetes, but what they're going to do is the complications of having diabetes is really what is the serious problem. So we need to really be focused on eating a proper diet, drinking a lot of water, exercising, keeping the body moving, because we've got to get things going to where they need to get in the body. But Emulin is such a perfect product because it's so bioavailable to the body. That's the thing that really impresses me. We We can eat foods, but if we can't digest them properly, we're not even going to be able to maybe get the full value of it. Because if it doesn't work in the intestinal tract to absorb properly, we're not going to get it. Emulin works beautifully that way to help control the sugars going in and out of the body, getting it to the brain where we need it, getting it to the muscle where we need it, but not storing it in fat, not storing it in other issues or tissues in the body where we're going to have serious problems later in life or maybe even earlier in life. And boy, the fact that you were at that level, yes, I've seen people at that level, and I've heard of even one testimony, and I think the person's in the record book, it was like 1,200
Oh, wow.
and didn't die, fortunately. But, you know, congratulations for making a wise choice. And I know you're going to be happy the rest of your life and be a lot healthier for it.
I'll tell you just one thing I wanted to add. I've never felt better. I mean, I was also able to drop 70 pounds through all of the changes, and I don't even have joint pain anymore. I used to be very stiff getting up in the morning. I don't have that anymore. And it just kind of like happened. I woke up thinking, I don't have joint pain. It's like, oh my gosh. So I know there's been tremendous benefits in addition to regulating my blood sugar that all, you know, Emulin has been a major part of helping. So like I said, I'm just ecstatic. We just need to get this out there and let more people know about it. So thanks again.
Well, Patsy, I can see one other benefit already. And I don't know what you looked like before Emulin, but your skin radiates health.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
That's
it.
a good sign of Emulin really being effective is radiant skin, good color.
He's a
Thank you.
smooth operator, isn't he? But he's very true too.
Truth.
Oh, I love you, Ron. I really, really love it.
I'll add him to my list too. Thank you.
Yeah, great testimony, Patsy, and thank you so much. And I'd like to see if we can even get Lorena to unblock herself or Stephanie, because I know you all have really good testimony. So please, if you're willing to, just unmute yourself and jump on board with us and share your story. Don't be shy. Oh no, Kenny's already shared his. So, you know, until one of you, you know, are happy enough to share this, what I will say to you is that when we start looking at Emulin, and I will, you know, we can even ask Ron and see if you want to share your story with us today, Ron. That would be good.
Yeah, my story is an interesting one. It goes in a lot of directions. There's many multiple things that I've benefited from. Probably the biggest benefit, I had fallen, tripped over a little nut off a tree a couple of years ago and wound up on my shoulder and wound up with a rotator cuff issue, and very, very painful. You could hardly move your arm above your head. And within 4 days on Emulin, amazing results with no pain, can freely move. It's just tremendous. But throughout the whole body, I'm noticing such great changes too. I'm now in my late 70s, I'll be 78 this year. Feel amazing, walk 4 miles a day, have energy, have stamina. You know, it's a powerful product that I plan on taking the rest of my life. I've had a lot of other intestinal issues in the past, which my family has been plagued with. I don't have those problems. So, you know, I think there's so many little things that I could go to and just pick off. The skin is another one. It's just, if we have good health, we're going to show it on the outside. And that's always a good testimony. So I'm looking at your skin, Jackie, and it's radiant as well, you know, but you've been taking a lot of Emulin. And like Dr. Joe says, you can't overtake it. If you take too much, you're either going to excrete it through the urine or it's going to come out through the skin. Last summer, I spent the whole summer out in my backyard working in the sun with no sunscreen because I'm not going to put poisons on my body, because whatever you put on your skin, you're eating. So all these skin things that are promoted out there, I don't believe in. Number one, I'm going to just protect my body. I use coconut oil on my face. I think that's a really good thing to do. I eat coconut oil as well because that's a good anti-inflammatory product. And those are some of the good things we can add to our diets to really help benefit the body. But Emulin is going to be there to, for me, just such a powerful thing. My wife is the same thing with a rotator cuff injury, just in days. And it had been going on for a year. So it's powerful what anti-inflammatories can do in the body, and Emulin, I think, is the best we've ever seen.
You know, Ron, thank you for sharing. And I have to say, you know, I hope that when I'm 21 like you, that I'm going to be as agile and mobile as what you are and look as amazing as what you do too, because, you know, I've watched you. And, you know, as we see people over this 4-year journey for us that have been fortunate enough and many others with Emulin, it is literally life-changing. But one thing, you know, I will take the liberty to discuss, and I know Dr. Ahrens is okay with this because it's something that we've talked about a lot, and it's due to my experience in regards to being a chronic person with multiple conditions. I'm not going to go into my testimony today because it's a little bit of a long one, but it is about doses, because there's a lot of questions come through, like when you start Emulin, like how much should you take? You know, what is it for children? What is it for people that have got a lot of symptoms or conditions? So if anything that I can say, and I have had this discussion with Dr. Ahrens numerous times, and he is fully on board with it because it wasn't something that he really looked at, because it was really through my experiences as we went through over this 4-year journey, and he has helped me to bring my health back to where it is, because I needed that guidance. But if I can say, if you've got people that are coming on board with Emulin, you've got the rule of thumb dose that is on the side of the bottle. And that is for the average person that is, you know, weighing that 170-pound individual. So obviously, if they are a heavier person, they're going to need more of it for it to be beneficial. And, you know, if you're going to have somebody that is elderly, is on a lot of medications and has or a lot of medical conditions that they are dealing with, may I suggest to you, when you start them off on the product, ask them to start off slowly to start with, because if they have a lot of medical conditions, if they have a lot of medications on board, creating an imbalance, because Emulin is going to manage refined carbohydrates, it's going to control the sugars in the body, it is going to change the body's response to things. So I'm talking from my experience that for me, when I started, I had to start slow. And it was just, reason being, it created an imbalance. My body didn't like it. It created a lot of symptoms that my system was not happy with. And so I had to just keep enduring that and keep going through it. But this just hasn't happened for me. This has happened for a lot of other people too. And it keeps coming up being those 3 areas. If people are older, if they're on a lot of medications, so you don't have to be older to be on a lot of medications. And if you've got a lot of medical conditions that you're starting somebody off on, start slow. And just let them wean them, like bring themselves into it gradually so their body can adjust to it, and then go up to your heavier doses, like a larger quantity. Like I'm on 6 to 8 a day. And if I have any sort of, my symptoms change and I'm not able to manage them, then I'll bump it up to 12 a day if I have to, for 3 days, to just give me a saturated dose for me. And you know, it might seem like a lot for a lot of people, but that's coming off of 14 scripted medications down to 1 now. So it's a big decrease, and I'm living life well, whereas before I wasn't living. And I've seen a lot of other people go through this as well. And there was a lady that contacted me, and she was not able to take Emulin. And the reason being was because she was taking it through the day. She had a lot of things going on. She was elderly. Second, she had a lot of medications on board, and C, she had a lot of conditions she was dealing with. So we looked at what her responses were through the day for her. So we suggested that she take her first capsule of a nighttime, because if she could take it at night while she was sleeping, she was more than likely able to get some rest through the night. The body would be able to adapt through it through the night, and you know, she's been able to actually start and take it. So she's been taking that 1 capsule a night for a couple of weeks to start with, and then she's gradually been able to bring that 2nd capsule in the morning. But for her to start and do it through the morning to start with, this was just her experience that she was unable to. So what my point getting across here is that, you know, it may be necessary to adjust for everybody, because not everybody is the same. We all are so different, and we all change all the time. So if it's not working for you and you feel that you're not getting the benefits, switch the dose, you know, for 2 or 3 days. Just increase and add an extra 1, or increase and add an extra 2. Drop it back if you feel like you're on top of the world. Don't be scared, because it's food that you're putting into your body. Have you got any thoughts on that, Ron?
Yeah, you bring up such good points, Jackie. And I think one of the things that we need to realize, if people are in poor health, elderly, on meds, that kind of thing, there's a lot of toxins in their body. And when we put anything good in the body, whether it's food or it's nutrition, emulin in this case, the body's going to say, oh, this is good. I can dump some junk. And when you're dumping junk, you're going to feel like crap sometimes. And you think it's the emulin. It's not the emulin. It's your body ridding itself of the toxins and the poisons that are making you feel so bad and needing, quote, the prescriptions. So it's just bringing the body into homeostasis. But your advice, Dr. Joe's advice, always correct. Start slow. You know, I can take tons of stuff right away because my body's been pretty clean for a long, long time. And I don't even notice I'm taking it other than I feel better gradually. But when you feel good all the time, it's hard to notice a lot of things. But boy, when you're dealing with challenges, that's a good point. And I think we always need to tell people that when you start out, if there's challenges, start slow, maybe one a day. And like at night is that's a great suggestion, because then you're not going to feel that through the night because you're resting and sleeping. So good points, Jackie.
Yeah, Ron, and a couple of others, you know, while we've got the opportunity to do this is that, and again, it's through experience for myself and others that I have worked with emulin over the 4 years, is when you do start them off too, like emulin will cause the body, I should say, to, you're going to urinate a lot more. So I don't know if many of you noticed that when you first started taking it, that the body's detoxing. So just as a, you know, for my own, and I can say this, then I'm safe in regards to being compliant. You know, for me personally, I detoxed so badly. Like it was 2 weeks. I was light sensitive, noise sensitive. I was sick. I mean, really sick. Couldn't leave the house. Blinds were down, noise off. I was a mess because my body was just it was so much toxins that were shifting through the body. But I stuck with it and it was worth it. And, you know, but what I did notice was that I was just on the toilet all the time, more than normal, like urinating. So what I did do was put pink Himalayan rock salt, a little bit extra into my diet to be able to put the electrolytes and the salts back into my body that I was sweating out, urinating out, all of those sorts of things. So just for the first couple of weeks, it's another thing to suggest for people, because a lot of people will come back and say they got diarrhea, they got constipated, they might have noticed headaches, nausea. It's not emulin, it's your body trying to get rid of the toxins and shift the toxins through your body. So it creates these symptoms and people automatically think, oh, it's emulin, get rid of emulin. No, it's food. It's food that you're fueling your body with, that it's assisting you to create the balance that your body was born to be in. What are your thoughts there, Ron?
You said it perfectly. I'm not going to add to that at all.
Oh, gosh, I'm trying to get you to help me out here.
No, that's perfect. That's said really well. And that's your own experience. And I noticed that myself too. I urinate more frequently when I'm up on more emulin, because it's my body getting rid of the junk that you get. You know, we try to eat well, but when we're out walking, we're walking on streets and cars go by, trucks go by, diesel fuel. There's a lot of stress in life today. In case everybody hasn't noticed, 2020 was a little bit stressful. So all of those things, Patsy mentioned that too. We got a lot of stress in our life, and those things cause the body to react abnormally. And this just helps the body get back into homeostasis. One of my favorite words, balance. It's all about balance. And if we're in balance, we're going to have a lot better chance of living a healthy lifestyle as long as God gives us.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, Ron, and you do bring up some great points. And, you know, for those of you that are wanting to share your testimony like this live, please let us know, because the power of people's personal testimonials is where we're able to share these calls, because we can manage to do it in a safe environment and then to be able to share this amongst others. And it's quite difficult to try and understand this product, and it takes some time, to be quite honest. And it's through these types of calls that it gives you the ability to understand it so much more easily. And if you do not understand it, then please reach out to somebody that can assist you, because it is a great product. You just have to give it time to unravel the body, you know. So, and if I can give you another point for people that are here, when I start people off on emulin, I would be very, very upfront with them and direct, and just say, look, I know that it's going to benefit you and assist and support your body. I can guarantee you that. But what I would like you to ask, I would ask of you, is to please give me 3 months. So commit to 3 months. Now your blood cycle is 3 months. Your heart cleans out your blood every 3 months. So when you go to the doctor and they'll tell you, come back for another full blood count in 3 months. There's a reason why. So if you can look at Emulin and give it the 3 months to be able to work its way into the body, start and shift that inflammation around through the body and help support the body to be able to do that. Get the toxins moving through your system. You know, the light bulb, the first couple of weeks that I noticed for people and myself is that mental clarity becomes, I was living in fog for 4 years. And the first thing that I really noticed was that I could actually think clearly. I was out of this bubble of fog where it was just consistently every single day. I woke up and I thought, just let me go back to sleep. I don't want to do this. So this brain fog lifted. I could actually think, and I was task focused. I could set something for the day to be able to manage to do it, whereas before I couldn't. And this is because of the sugars. You know, we get this excess buildup in the brain of sugars and it creates this brain fog, and it's inflammation in the brain. So if we can, and excess sugar. So if we can actually try and support the body to be able to process through, and this is what Emulin does, it's what its job is to be able to support the body to be able to find that balance where it should be at. Think about this, like it's a good tools to think about. And even I've posted it into Dr. Ahrens' page for you in regards to keeping a diary. Ask people to keep a diary on what they're doing and what they're eating every day, because your body is reactive to what you eat. And again, it's not necessarily Emulin. I guarantee it's probably not, to be quite honest. It'll be food, because we get in a little comfort zone and go, wow, I feel great. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You're going to hit that brick wall. Well, that's called detoxing again. The body will just constantly keep on finding a rebalance. You're going to put fuel into it. So it's like running a Ferrari and you put substandard fuel in, it's going to backfire and choke and carry on. Your body's going to do exactly the same thing. So hang in there. What are your thoughts there, Ron?
Yeah, exactly. Said I use the Ferrari example myself. You can't put diesel fuel in a fine-tuned, a high-octane Ferrari car or that type of car, because that's not what it's designed to do. Neither is our body. Our body is designed to eat whole foods, not processed foods. And the more we can get away from processed foods, it's hard to totally eliminate it in our world today. You know, there's birthday parties, there's gatherings, you know, where we're going to do that. And I'm not living a perfect dietary life either. We do that when we get together. We're not going to be antisocial, but we know we're taking Emulin that's going to protect us. And we minimize it and we do a little extra when we know we're going to do that. Just as it's like putting paint on a car. If you don't put paint on a car, it's going to rust. We need paint in the car, and it's called Emulin in the body. So.
Yeah. It's great. So just to finish up on this call tonight, everybody, you know, alcohol is another one as well. And what is in alcohol? Sugar. So why do you get a hangover? Because you drink too much. And what are you fueling your body with when you drink too much? Sugar. So what's going to happen to your brain? It's going to dehydrate and you get a screaming headache from it. So, you know, if you think you're going to have, I don't know, 4 or 5 drinks, throw a few more Emulin into there before you go out and a couple when you go home, and you'll find that your recovery is a lot smoother. So it's not a license to go out there and drink 20, but it does help you to process the sugars. So look, I want to thank everybody. And Ron, I just want to say, if you want to finish off on anything with a last remark here for tonight's call.
Well, I just think we all had to have the task of going out there and sharing Emulin with as many people as possible, because we're doing them a big favor. They may not know it until they've been on it for 3 months or more. But boy, if we do that, they're going to thank us long term. We thank Dr. Joe for all that he's done, created for us, and what's coming down the pike is going to be more exciting than we can even imagine.
Yeah. And we, you know, I'd like to mention too, 24/7. Don't forget about that. That product actually has 2 active components that are the same that are in Emulin. So if you want to, you know, combine them together and layer it on top of, you know, it's the perfect marriage if you're looking at supporting your body for other reasons as well. So a lot of people aren't aware that there are 2 active components in 24/7, the same as Emulant. So it just works in synergy very, very well. So I just want to thank everybody, and, you know, most importantly, for those that share their testimonies tonight with us, it is a privilege and an honor for us to actually have you do that, because it's something very personal. And Mike, I want to thank you so much for sharing your children's testimony, because, you know, sharing a child's testimony is a really personal thing, I believe, even more so than your own, because it's not their choice. So as a parent, thank you so much for doing that for us, because there's a lot of power in that, being able to share those when we get a child's testimony. And Ron, my friend, I really thank you, and I love having you on the call, because we have the same sense of humor and the same passion and love for what Dr. Ahrens has brought into our world, and what we have going forward is extremely exciting. So I just want to thank everybody so much, and stay on the call. I've just got a couple of things to tell you, and I look forward to next week is questions and answers. So if you have any that you would like to have responded to, just try and email them through, or even put them into the Facebook group so I can gather them and have them for next week's call. So thank you so much. Have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.